Breaking news. If your girlfriend goes to the season opening basketball game, never mind, we can't say that. We Team Kendrick. Welcome to another episode of Victory Lane Vibes. We are your hostesses with the mostesses. It is breaking news. It's a special episode. It's Jared and Art. And there's been a lot happening in the last 18 hours. So we figured we gotta jump on here and lay some down on the tape for y'all to digest. So good evening.
So what's with this charters, huh? We buying, we selling, we upsizing,
I
we're
don't know if y'all,
downsizing.
if you paid attention to our socials, shout out Tom or whatever his real name is. That was the fire meme for this episode. We talked about it Sunday night. We were like, yeah, some things shaking up, some things cooking up. And then Michael McDowell announces that he's going to Spire, a multi-year deal. Pockers interviewed him and he said, it's not a lateral move to me. They got the situation over here growing, got the money over here cooking, and I think I can snatch me a couple dubs over here. So he's like, man, that's And then not to be outdone, an article comes out that says, we've been talking about how I think Priest's contract is up this year, Briscoe's contract is up this year. It's not a secret that SHR lost their tier 1 Ford dealing, so seemingly leaving them to find a new home for next year with another manufacturer if they want to be the redheaded stepchild. So that was 2 charters, but then now the whole shop is for sale. So I jokingly said it on Sunday's episode that SHR needs to close up shop, let Haas invest the money in the F1 team that they need to give a fighting chance to Red Bull and McLaren, and let Tony go play with his drag racers.
They must have heard.
He must have heard me. That was some extreme foreshadowing by me, because yikes.
Right.
Yikes.
I mean, all of this is deeply concerning. Like, if I'm an employee, like if I work the mailroom at SHR, like I'm nervous, boy, I tell you. I wonder if this is, remember earlier in the year, there was like some rumor that there was like industry shaking news that was going to get potentially leaked later on in the season. And we all wondered what it might be. Is it, a new OEM? At first, I think we thought it was maybe Front Row leaving Ford, but then we were like, that's not that big. Like, it's big, but it's not industry shattering or shaking news. But for one of your, cornerstone teams, no matter how much bad hard times they've come under the last year or two, for them to just be closing up shop completely, that's very concerning. I'd be curious to see what happened, because I know, when Harvick was winning like a dozen races, like they were not anywhere close to closing up. So like what
Absolutely
has happened in the last like 3 years? Like that wasn't that long ago, right? I feel it's like 2020, maybe. Was that the year he and Denny went off?
Yeah, when they both spazzed. That was the year we came back from COVID.
Yeah. So like, what has happened to the books in the last 3 years?
I can tell you what's happened to the books, Playboy.
I mean,
gone is Bush. That Budweiser money is gone. Bye-bye. So is Hunt Brothers Pizza. So is the bacon. The bacon's gone. And you've had to, now granted, Noah, we knew Noah when he announced that he was going to SHR. We knew he would still have Bass Pro and everybody that falls underneath that umbrella. We knew he'd be able to pick up a couple more sponsors just because it's Noah. But he's the only one bringing money. Ryan Preece has United Rentals selectively. The rest of that is just a Haas car. Chase Briscoe has Mahindra tractors, but it seems to be like they're more tied to Tony than to Chase. So if this goes bye-bye, you'll see Mahindra tractors on an NHRA top fuel dragster near you. And Josh Berry he's got his findings and his pickings of things. So I don't know, but I know that Josh and Noah are under contract, which is why we were like, okay, well, them two staying and other two leaving made sense. But and then to add more insult to injury, Fox announced that Race Hub was ending, sending everybody into a flurry of emotions. It's May 9th at the time of this recording. Goodness gracious. So, of course, to add more insult to injury, there's more discourse. As we know that Kaulig hasn't been the most successful Cup team. If you hearken back to last year's Roval when AJ won, he was in shambles in victory lane. He was in tears. Everybody was hugging. Everybody was crying. And he was quoted saying that this may be the last one. So this one feels a little bit more special.
Right.
So on the outside looking in, like, oh, AJ's going back to Xfinity racing. He's going to be fine. However, there's some rumblings and some grumblings where Mr. Marks and Pitbull might be snatching Kaulig as well.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of those that just doesn't, I wouldn't say it doesn't make sense, not that, but it's just like one of the things you didn't see coming necessarily. Like that to me ranks probably second behind the SHR news. I guess it does make sense if you try to think about it from the lens of they've had much more success in Xfinity, and if
much more.
they really want to be the hashtag trophy hunters that they say they are, well, that would make a lot more sense. Just pool all of your resources, get that 40, 50, 80 million, whatever you can get for these two charters, and just bounce and go to a place where you can have more on track performance. And I think we've talked about it on the show before, but kind of that concept of, would you rather be mid-pack in Cup or front of the field in Xfinity?
Right.
And I mean, it's a hard argument to go against the idea of just going to the air quotes lower level and just being up front, like being on TV every day versus, in Cup Series, they're kind of an also ran in a lot of the races, outside of road courses, obviously, because AJ is fantastic. He's one of the best in the field at road courses. But on ovals, they just have not had the speed or success. I mean, even at, the drafting plate tracks, they're not having anywhere close to success that you would want to see. So, and those can be a bit more of a crapshoot where you would think, all right, eventually the luck will go their way where they're at least up front, with 20 laps to go or something for these, but they never seem to be really a threat for those. So, like the idea of two teams just disappearing, like there aren't that many teams in the Cup garage. So, that's a big slice of the pie going. And then, for Trackhouse, they're making the moves. If this is what's going to happen, that's the kind of moves like I want 23XI to make, right? Like I want them to get to 4 ASAP. Now I know Denny says he's got, his plan and like they're going to grow at a rate that makes sense for them. But, if next year the system is similar to what it is this year and like we still have this charters in place, like they only get rarer to come by, like they're like a rare candy in Pokemon. Like they do not come along very often. And like when you get it, you got to take advantage of it. So I don't know what they're going to do really. Going up to 4 teams though is huge. And then you start asking the question like, who's going to fill those seats?
Yeah. So I don't know if people are as hard into it as we are, but Carson Hocevar and Zane Smith are Trackhouse drivers. Trackhouse and Spire have a deal where they're like leasing the seat to them just to have them someplace to grow and play and all that stuff. So if they acquire 2 more charters, then 2 of them will come home. But oh wait, there's more. SVG is signed to Trackhouse as well, which offers a conundrum as to, well, what happens? Do you bring Carson and SVG home? Do you leave Zane there, or vice versa? I definitely think that after SVG spends his time in the Xfinity Series, he's going full-time Cup racing next year. I would hope that Justin obviously convinced him enough to leave Supercars to come over here, that he would be on the home team and not, wearing the alternate jerseys. He wouldn't be, Cash App. He would be, Trackhouse. So that's interesting. Another interesting thing that I saw is if SHR does get fully dissolved, is it Junior's time? Is it time for him to come play? Does he buy ownership in the team with some ownership grumblings going on that we mentioned on Sunday. Does Ricky Stenhouse and his new contract afford him a teammate, which he hasn't had since he was with Roush?
I mean, all right. So let's start with Trackhouse.
Oh, no, I take that back. He had a teammate at GTG with who was with him? I think it was Ryan Priest. They only had a charter for one team, and then the other car didn't have sponsorship to keep it going, so they let the other car go. So he has had a teammate since he's been with JTG Jordy. I just don't remember who his co-driver was.
Yeah, I mean, if you start with the Trackhouse news, like somebody's got to go. We got 5 guys. We got 4 seats. Now, my biggest question would be, is assuming they get 4 seats this offseason, do they think SVG is ready next year? Because he'll only have been racing, ovals for 1 season full time. And like, yes, he won Chicago, and that was ultra impressive. But if you were SVG and you said, what's your ideal scenario to win a race in your first start? Chicago would be what he described, right? Like a road course or a street course. It's raining. It's a track that no one has any familiarity with, right? Like everyone is brand new. So like that helped close the gap for him. Now, that doesn't make it any less impressive, but I'm just saying that's ideal conditions. In Xfinity, he's been doing really well, but he's not, lighting the world on fire. Amazing. Like he's doing really well. And I think they're probably happy with his results, but they always say that, going into the Cup Series full time, like it's a different level. And it's not a question to me of if he can get there. It's just a matter of when and how long are you willing to let him bake in Xfinity. So if they're like, okay, we're going to give you 2 years Xfinity, then that would make sense. Like I can push the decision off for a year. We can try to get sponsorship figured out. But if they think he's ready, somebody got to go.
Somebody going home.
And I think it's everyone's favorite amigo would be the one to get his walking papers.
You would think that, but he's already locked into the chase. He won. They're done. His car is good. You would think that. But I think there's somebody else in another Chevrolet organization that can open up that seat for leasing. There's a certain somebody who hasn't won anything, anytime, any place, anywhere. I know he just got re-signed. However, with Michael McDowell coming, with the driver situation already afoot between Trackhouse and Spire, and with Raja seemingly on the cusp of taking somebody's seat sometime soon, does your boy get walking papers? Does Mr. Lights Too Bright turn the light bulb off?
Oh man, I don't know. Like if you look at this from a cold calculating perspective, then like that makes sense.
If you just judge the stats, he's cooked.
Yeah, if you look at it with any type of context, they continue to hitch their wagon to this horse, and they just seem very married to the guy. So like, I don't know like what it would take, whether it's money, whether it's sponsorships, which I guess is money, but like, I don't know what it would take for them to actually uncouple from Mr. Lights Too Bright, Corey LaJoy. I don't know though. I just feel like I keep going back and like I agree. Like on the surface, like I'm gonna go back to Daniel for a second. Like on the surface, like it doesn't make sense. Like yes, he just won, and yes, he's locked in the playoffs. Like absolutely agree with all that. However, if you take that win aside, which I know that's hard to do, to take aside a win. He's had 2 wins in 3 or 4 years,
which is more than what he's had when he was with JGR and the other teams he's been with.
Which is true. I'm not saying this isn't really a case of poor performance. I think it's a case of higher potential, right? So it's like, what you've got with Daniel, but like this other thing could be great. Like it's could be even better.
Right.
And it's not necessarily a knock on Daniel. Like I think he's a capable driver, but I think he's realistically like a midfield driver. Like he's somewhere in like the 12 to like 22 range, who will be a threat for wins, but like on the average.
Right.
He's like somewhere in that range. And like I just looked it up. Like SVG is 35. So like he's not a spring chicken. And I'm not saying he's old, and I'm not saying he's past his prime, because I don't think that's the case. But
if anything, he's getting ready to enter it. Like if it was what Denny was saying, this is like prime time.
Right. Like the next 5 years are probably going to be his best years of driving. And I don't think you want to blow one of them in the Xfinity series. It's like, I'd rather you just learn and fail in the Cup series than learn and fail in Xfinity.
Right. Because the two don't translate anymore.
Right. And like, you've got these other two young guys and Carson and Zane that you might see those the way, Joe Gibbs sees Ty and Christopher Bell, right? Like these are our future tent poles. Like we have to get them in the pipeline and get them trained up as early as possible. We're gonna have them for the next 10 years. Like they're just gonna be here, and the sooner we can get them in here, the better. Like we can again take our lumps maybe with those two guys, because they both have shown plenty of potential. Like again, like these are all guys that deserve to be in a Cup ride. Like none of these guys suck.
Right.
As far as Trackhouse goes. But then of course you've got Ross is a seat for life.
Yeah.
Like as soon as Ross rode the wall at Martinsville, like he had a lifetime contract.
Right.
Like he's not going anywhere. He's going to be the captain of the garage, at least when it comes to Trackhouse. So I don't see a world like where it makes sense to have these three guys that could potentially you're settling for maybe a drop off this year coming up for better gains the next 4 years.
It's crazy.
So I don't know, like, and that's crazy to say because yes, he's a playoff driver, but like, does anyone think that Daniel is a threat in the playoffs? Not to go like Final Four. When I say a threat, I mean like to win it all or to be at least in Phoenix. Not necessarily. I'm not going to say that like Carson or Zane are. I'm saying though, but SVG might. I would, if I had to put my eggs on, on someone, I'd put it on SVG to be a threat. Again, not next year, but in a couple of years. And I hate saying this because I love Daniel. Yeah, and I love Daniel. I think he's really talented. He's a great personality. I want him in a Cup series. But if I'm Trackhouse, like a lot of money out, a lot of money and there's a lot of money on the line, but there's also very limited number of minutes of seat time. There's very few minutes of seat time. Like we don't have all off season to practice. Like we can get in the sim, but like we've seen, like that doesn't necessarily translate.
Right.
And if these guys are your future and SVG is your near future and Carson and Zane are your far future, kind of makes sense to get them in early, rather be early than late with them versus them toiling away in a Spire car that may not match what you can offer, right? Like it may be a better car. It might be the setup, the way they operate might be different. Like, I mean, there's a ton of different variables that we don't know about, but that to me is what makes the most sense. And I don't want it to be the case, but again, I'm disconnected, so it's easy for me to say. But if I'm making the cold, calculated decision, it's Daniel has to go. And again, it's not because he sucks, just that everything else around him provides more potential. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. And then like as far as Dale Jr., like I don't think he's coming. I honestly don't think so.
You don't think this was one with one he ain't coming?
I don't.
If Josh Berry gets his walking papers, you don't think that Junior will buy into somebody's team, buy into somebody's charter, and put his, for all intents and purposes, golden child, he'll put his goose in his car?
No, I don't. I think
let him ride.
I think he'd put him in a JRM Xfinity car real quick.
Take him back.
But I don't think Josh is going to want that. Like if he has any say in the matter. Like this is a man who has admitted, time and time again that he was too late buying the charter, right? He should have bought the charter when it was 10 million.
Right.
Or whatever it was. And now it's 40. And I mean, it doesn't seem like the costs to play are getting any lower.
Right.
And so it's like, yes. Now this is all contingent on like next year being the same setup and same deal as this year.
Exactly.
But like, if someone isn't willing to pay $10 to go see a movie, why am I going to think a week later they're going to pay $40 to see the same movie?
Mm-hmm.
like it just to me like that line of thinking just doesn't match with everything he said on paper. And like I'm sure I mean based on the way he talks about it, like he regrets, not jumping on it when he did. And of course, like we all have regrets, but like
Right.
I think he's kind of just made his peace that unless like this charter deal changes and like it opens up or becomes to where you don't have to have one or something along those lines, I just don't think he does it at this point. I think he's kind of at peace with it. Again, full speculation, but is it really worth it? Like, am I really going to spend 40 to 80 million dollars to run a one car team with Josh Berry in the Cup Series?
Well, like I said, it's a situation coming available potentially where he wouldn't have to play alone. He'd have some help.
Sure.
But that seemingly to bring this to a point, NASCAR allegedly has something to present the teams. They've worked on something. It seems like it's going to work well. To NASCAR's point in their favor. It's no secret that all of the major players in this sport, they like having the charters around. They just wanted to make more sense for the team owners. We spoke about it Sunday. There has to be some profit somewhere for the teams in order for this to be viable. There's grumblings and rumblings about, an OEM isn't going to come unless they develop hybrid technology, which was what the next gen car, was designed to run. It's capable of doing it. Apparently Hyundai's in the running instead of Honda to come play in the Cup Series if they can bring that out. So do you get the charters fixed first? Then do you invite the OEM? Do all of our heads pop off like an episode of The Boys and we go hybrid next year? And the charters are seemingly worth even more because of the sponsorship model has changed or how they get paid out. NASCAR has a lot to figure out and a lot to do. Yeah, well, we're not even going to talk about the schedule thing right now. We're going to save that for Sunday. This is charters only, but it's definitely leads you into the race weekend with some questions, seemingly more questions than answers. But like I said, we had to come on here and give our 2 cents, because Lord knows if we wait for the next episode, it'll be a 3-hour one, and I don't have time for that.
I don't want to edit it, so that's fine by me.
Yeah, we ain't doing that. But let us know your thoughts. Let us know your opinions. Are we wrong? Are we right? Where's your guesses? Does SHR close? Has this been the end of an era? Are we losing a team completely?
That's so crazy. That's so
the whole
crazy.
thing, the shop, the parking lot, all of it is gone.
So crazy.
CNC machines is gone. Tony would say, "I'm gonna go play drag racing." We don't have SRX anymore. Asterisks. More on that later. And Gene, I guess Haas has been cooking in F1. If y'all haven't been watching or listening to Chicanery, maybe he wants to dumb it down over there and see what's what. So
you want to talk about the butterfly effect. Imagine 2020 Fall Martinsville last lap. Kevin Harvick dumps Kyle Busch instead of himself, makes the final 4. Does he win a championship? Does that keep the shop open?
Do we even have this conversation right now?
Right. Like, because I don't think there's ever, I mean, I'm sure there actually has been, but I can't think of a team that won a championship and then closed shop like 2 years later. Like, I don't recall that
I've
happening.
never seen that.
So like, I mean, you win a title, that gives you so much runway and gives you so much credibility and money and resources and sponsors and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So like, if he literally just dumps Kyle Busch, wins a title, and then like every domino that might go after that with regarding these charters if they fall, I just it's not a small one, but just like because this is one of those where it's like you saw it live and like you would have no idea that's like, oh hey, Harvick's only gonna win like 2 more races and then retire after this. You're like, he just won 12 races. Like, he's gonna be back next year. Be right there. Nope. Like,
the fall off was dramatic.
That's crazy.
They haven't really had speed at all in this whole next gen era. It's wild. It's very wild.
I mean, the Fords, we can close after this, but like, the Fords in general have not been great.
Themselves haven't been fast.
They just were very clutch. They found speed when it mattered most. Like, they really just kind of rode around for a lot of the season. You know, we'll get a win here or there. And then, you know, Joey and Ryan, to their credit, like, right, they turned it on when they had to. Ryan especially, right, having a win and all that. So, I mean,
literally having to walk off for the trophy. Like, it's been a nutty year for sure. I mean, already. I don't know. I guess we'll see what. I don't know. It's Darlington this weekend. We'll see what happens. Eric Jones is back in the car. So he's going to be a favorite to win, I think, since he's done it before and
twice,
underperforming.
Right?
Yeah, and underperforming, formerly known as Richard Petty car. So it'll be some interesting eyes to see this weekend. We'll definitely be keeping our heads on the swivel. Kiana will be at the race representing the vibes down at Darlington. So if you see her, say hey. Shout out Home Field. At the time of recording, Arrow McLaren collection drops tomorrow at 10. Use our promo code VOV24 at homefieldapparel.com and on the app and copy some of that Arrow McLaren merch to go with your Indy 500 merch, to go with your Little 500 merch, to go with that Hendrick collection merch. Shout out Home Field, great partners of ours. We love them. They love us. Make sure y'all get that tomorrow because mine's already sitting in my cart. I just can't buy it just yet.
All right.
But
I placed a Home Field order and I've been waiting by the door. I legit placed an order. This is not an ad read now. I'm waiting by the door for it.
Yeah.
Every day.
Same.
Like a little kid.
There's I don't know if y'all have seen it, but that black and gold Indy 500 shirt. With the matching hat.
Mm-hmm.
I need the UPS
man. See the vision. You see the vision.
I need it. I got a whole fit plan. I need it. But yeah, just thank y'all for rocking with us. We had to jump on and do this. Appreciate y'all for listening. This will be out soonish. And then we'll talk to y'all post Darlington.
After Darlington. Lady in Black. She's waiting for us.
Too tough to tame. And then we'll share some extra news Sunday. Or Monday.
More coming. The chefs are in the kitchen.
We're not done yet. There's still more to come. There are more announcements to be made. Like, follow, subscribe. If you see us elsewhere, you didn't. Until we told you to, you did. And that's all that matters.
The wok is on high heat. We got the oil steaming.
Man, I feel like we're just. You've gone to eat hibachi, like at the hibachi place, and you know the little volcano with the onions.
Yep.
That's the vibes right now.
We appreciate y'all.
Appreciate.
Where was it? You said we got some love. Texas, you listening? We appreciate you.
Yeah, we got Charlotte,
Florida. We appreciate
Dallas.
You.
Thank you for listening. Florida, thank you for listening. The analytics are analyting. We've blown up the last 2 weeks, so we appreciate y'all for listening. Tell your friends, like, comment, subscribe, do all the things. Leave us reviews, ask Sponte questions, call the hotline 919-322-9267. Yeah. Hopefully we see you Monday.
We'll be back.
No, we're coming back. I think that Monday may be the safe day to record instead of Sunday this time because Kiana's got to come in and give us that raw. So it'll probably be Monday.
All right.
Hopefully.
All right. We'll see y'all next time.
Oh, man, you know what I was gonna do? Like I've been singing the new music the whole time, and now I can't remember it.
Damn,
that sucks.
That's crazy.
I had the hum and everything. Like I had it because I was doing the beat like the whole day. Whatever. Cue my outro music. We holler at y'all in a couple days. It is unclutch. I'm sorry. I could be. Never mind. We'll save that for Sunday or Monday.
That's it. We're out.